I keep going back to social media because that's something that I dealt with quite a bit. We had a local officer who was paralyzed in a physical altercation off duty. One of the first things I did as soon as I had the three guys that jumped him's information, and I got on their social media, started screenshotting. There's also a thing called a preservation letter. I fire off a preservation letter to Facebook. It don't matter if you delete your stuff or not, it's preserved at Facebook headquarters, wherever that is, and they send me a nice little packet in the mail that has everything you've ever posted on your Facebook page.
You kind of answered at least part of the question I was going to ask, which is kind of this right to privacy versus evidence concern. So I mean, obviously, the Googles of the world, the Amazons, the Facebooks, the Twitters, they want us. I'm hitting my microphone. They want us, the user, to believe that they're going to protect our privacy, but they have constraints, legal constraints. So if you'll touch on that a little bit more, like what it looks like to subpoena that information. But the other question, and I'm going to tag on Mark's question here. He asked about unlocking cell phones. Now my phone's got a passcode on it. You guys take it into evidence. Do you need me to comply, or are you going to get that info out there?
Well, that's part of that balancing act I talked about earlier. Steve Maddox unlocked his phone, handed it to the investigators, and said, "There you go, knock yourself out." Everything on his phone supported what he said. He had nothing negative that came out of that. But again, if you're a guy that might go have a few pops after work, and then you want to discuss with your buddy all the social ills in the world, and you want to be a keyboard commando, and you're posting those kind of things, "Oh, I'd run over those protesters. They're on the highway." That's that negative picture. As far as legality, the preservation order just preserves whoever that provider is, Facebook, IG.
The court is saying, don't delete this.
Don't delete that. This is just a preservation order. Hang on to this. Now you have to go get you have to make a application to a judge for a search warrant, subpoena if it's held somewhere else, that says, "I have probable cause to believe there's evidence on this device. My probable cause is this," and it's a fairly low threshold. Now, you mentioned passcodes. One of the issues, I don't know if you remember the San Bernardino terrorist attack. That was with the iPhone 8 or 9, and the encryption at that time, the Celebrite machine that I was talking about couldn't break that passcode. Earlier versions it could. So that takes a whole different level. In that case, the FBI managed to break the code because there was a national security interest there. Had that been a local shooting, they probably would have never accessed that information on that device. My advice is, don't put anything on the phone. Don't put anything on social media that you wouldn't want to read to the judge if you were being charged with a crime, because it's more likely that it's going to come out than not.